Smoke in the train, that red be keeping me sane. Unstoppable, I am untamed. I am unstoppable just like the train. Hey, I can't see nobody stopping us. Yeah, we're unstoppable. Went through a whole lot of obstacles. I swear we did the impossible.
What's up, Packer fans? Welcome back to Cheesehead Talk. It's your boy Tramel coming back with another video. And we have more free agency news for the Green Bay Packers as they just signed wide receiver Devin Funchess to a one-year deal. We don't have the information just yet on how much he signed for, but I'm sure we'll get that sometime soon. But the Packers signed wide receiver Devin Funchess. He's a former Carolina Panther, and he's a former Indianapolis Colt. And he's coming off of a collarbone injury that he suffered in week 1 of the 2019 season. He only played in that first game of the season, and he missed the rest of the season. And he finished 2019 with 3 catches for 32 yards. And you take a look at his 5-year career, starting with his rookie season in 2015. This is the year that the Carolina Panthers went to the Super Bowl. And I still don't know how Cam Newton took that team to the Super Bowl that year. They went 15-1, and they lost in the Super Bowl to the Denver Broncos. But in Devin Funchess' rookie year in 2015, he had 31 catches, 473 yards, and 5 touchdowns in 16 games and 5 starts. And Devin Funchess was the Panthers' wide receiver number 2 that year, and he was their third option in that offense in the receiving game. And then you move on to 2016, his sophomore season. He took a little step down. He had 23 catches for 371 yards and 4 touchdowns in 15 total games and 7 starts. And then 2017 is when he really took a step up. He became the Carolina Panthers' number 1 option that season. And that year, the Panthers went 11-5 that season. And that year, Devin Funchess had 63 catches for 840 yards, 8 touchdowns in 16 games and in 16 starts. And he really showed that he could be a solid wide receiver. And then the next year, in 2018, he took a step down again. He had 44 catches for 549 yards, 4 touchdowns in 14 games and in 12 starts. And that year, he really struggled with drops. He's a guy who struggles with drops. He's been struggling his whole career with drops. But I remember that season for sure because I watched All or Nothing on Amazon. They did it that year in 2018 over the Carolina Panther season. And Devin Funchess, man, he just continued to drop the ball in that 2018 season. He really struggled, and he took a step down like I mentioned. And as I mentioned earlier, in 2019, he only played in 1 game. And Devin Funchess, he's a guy, like I said, he struggles with drops. He has a 51% career catch percentage. Now, some of that has to do with Cam Newton being his quarterback. Cam Newton is not the most accurate quarterback. And then some of it has to do with Devin Funchess just dropping the football. Now, he signed to a 1-year deal. He signed to a prove-it deal. He's trying to get a bigger contract in 2020. And I guess the Packers signed him because they're hoping he can return to the 2017 form that he showed when he had 63 catches and 840 yards with 8 touchdowns that year. And it's just like all their other free agent signings with Christian Kirksey. They're hoping he can get back to his form before his injuries. And the same with the Rick Wagner signing. They're hoping that he could become the football player he was when he was in Baltimore and become the average guy he was in Detroit before he had a horrible 2019. And when the Packers made this signing, my first thought was, is he really better than the receivers that we have on the roster? We know he's not better than Devontae Adams. Is he really better than Allen Lazard? I don't know. I think that's a debate. Is he really better than Marquez Valdez-Scantling? Maybe. Is he better than Equanimeous St. Brown? I don't know. I think St. Brown has a little bit of potential to be good in the league. Is he better than Jake Kumaro? I think so. But even if he is better than these guys, it's not a big difference. I really wanted a guy like Taylor Gabriel, a guy with 4.3 speed who could take it to the house in the screen game and with the go route. Or a guy like Denzel Perryman, who's a big body receiver, and he's got some decent speed on him. He can catch the jump ball. He could beat you on the go route. He can run the route tree. I wanted somebody of that caliber, a pretty good number 2 receiver at worst. And I don't know if Devin Funchess is that guy. Now, if he can get back to the 2017 form, then I guess I'm fine with the signing. But he's coming off of an injury, and we're banking off of hope right now. And guys on Twitter, they just don't understand. They're really saying that they're fine with Allen Lazard being wide receiver number 2. I heard somebody say that we don't need to draft a wide receiver between round 1 and round 3. They said it's unnecessary because it's very risky. And this is arguably one of the best wide receiver classes in NFL history. And you're telling me that we don't need to get one of those guys when one of our biggest needs coming into the season is the wide receiver position. That just doesn't make any sense to me. Like, you have to be crazy. You're telling me you're fine with Allen Lazard being wide receiver number 2, an undrafted free agent. Are you serious? Like, seriously, you need to get checked out. Seriously. And I'm just looking at the wide receiver cores in the NFC. And this is why I get so upset. And this is why I'm so negative about some of the signings that we made. Because we're in win now mode right now. Aaron Rodgers is getting older and older. He's 36 years old. And I hate to say it, he's my favorite player of all time. I love him to death. I'm his biggest fan. But he's not the same Aaron Rodgers that we love and that we know, man. He's not Superman anymore. Aaron Rodgers is human. Don't get me wrong. He's still a good quarterback, but he's not that Superman guy anymore. He cannot carry this team, and we have to get him all the help we can get if we're going to win a Super Bowl. Like I said, you got to look at the NFC wide receiver cores. Look at the Saints. They have Michael Thomas, arguably the best wide receiver in football. They just signed Emmanuel Sanders. He's a guy who could be a wide receiver number 1. And he's a great number 2 option. They also have a very good tight end in Jared Cook. So they have a nice receiving core over there in New Orleans. Look at Tampa Bay. They have Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. Mike Evans is arguably a top 5 wide receiver. And Chris Godwin, he was a Pro Bowler. Those are 2 Pro Bowl wide receivers. And they also have Cameron Brate at the tight end position. Then you look at Arizona. They have DeAndre Hopkins. He's arguably the best receiver in football. They have Larry Fitzgerald. He could still make big plays. Now he's their second option. Then they also have Christian Kirk. He's up and coming. He could be a star in this league. So they have a nice core in Arizona. Then you look at Atlanta. They have Julio Jones, arguably the best receiver in football. Calvin Ridley. He's a good number 2 option. And then they just signed tight end Hayden Hurst. I think he's going to be an upcoming star. Then you look at Seattle. They have Tyler Lockett. He's a very fast wide receiver. He's a good number 1 option. They also have DK Metcalf. He's an up-and-coming star. He's going to be very, very good in this league. And then they have Greg Olsen, who they picked up in free agency. If he could stay healthy, then, man, that receiving core could be a problem. Then you look at San Francisco. They have some weapons at the running back position. They have so many guys at the running back position. Raheem Mostert, Matt Breida, Tevin Coleman. Then they have Deebo Samuel at the wide receiver position. Then they have arguably the best tight end in football in George Kittle. And then you look at the Rams. They still have Brandon Cooks and Robert Woods. And then the Carolina Panthers, they're an underrated receiving core. They have DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson, who they just picked up in free agency, and Christian McCaffrey. So this is why I'm negative about the signings right now. And this is why I continue to say the Packers need to address the wide receiver position. We have to win a Super Bowl now with Aaron Rodgers because he's aging. We are in win now mode right now. And all of these wide receiver cores that I just named, is Devin Funchess better than their number 2 receiver? And some of the receiving cores that I named, he's not even better than their number 3 receiver. So this is why I stress we need to address the wide receiver position. We have to address it. But like I said earlier in the video, if Devin Funchess can get back to that 2017 form, then it's a good signing. It's a low risk, high reward signing. And if he can get back to that 2017 form, he could possibly be a solid number 2 option. But I hope the Packers address the wide receiver position in the draft and pick up one of those guys in the first round or in the second round. So Devin Funchess will be wide receiver number 3 at the best. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section about Devin Funchess. Leave a like, subscribe to the channel, share the video, and also follow the social media on Twitter at Cheesehead_talk. Again, that's Cheesehead_talk. Go Pack, go.
I can't see nobody stopping us. Unstoppable, unstoppable, unstoppable. Run up that paper and get it. Whatever it take, we gon' get it. You know ain't nobody stopping us. Mafia, mafia, mafia.